Welcome to the SG Podcast. I'm Water Elemental, and today I'm joined by my brother and also sometimes co-host, Jelly Green. Welcome.
Hello. Been a long time since I've joined you for any of the things that you do on your channel.
I know, it's because we're so far away, it's a lot harder to record, huh?
It
It's not
actually
like
is.
we just spent half an hour trying to get audio working.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. Long distance audio problems.
Yay. So I'm having you here today because we're having a very special episode. It's BlizzCon weekend. Yay!
Huzzah! Anyway, so a lot has happened so far. It is Saturday morning. We had the entire opening ceremony Friday, November 3rd, yesterday. And it was basically just a day of first impressions. I don't know what you wanted to start off with, what you liked, what you didn't like, but I kind of wanted to work up to World of Warcraft because I think normally World of Warcraft is the big centerpiece of everything they do. It's the big money maker, but these days it's not. Like Overwatch is.
There's some big mic drops during this whole spiel. So yeah, we'll work from the lower all the way up to the bigger announcements. The first thing is StarCraft 2 went free to play. That was literally like we're working on some stuff. StarCraft 2 is free to play. Now we're going to get into the bigger announcements. I think that's a good thing, but also a bad thing for StarCraft 2. Most of the people that want to play StarCraft 2 have already played StarCraft 2 at one point, and if they aren't already, they've probably lapsed.
Well, I actually think this is kind of a business strategy, what they're doing. This might signal a StarCraft 3 or a new expansion coming up here soon. They want to get as many people involved in StarCraft, get the hype up before releasing something that they have a larger fan base for now.
Right. Yeah, and I have nothing wrong with StarCraft. I thought Wings of Liberty was a great expansion, or great start to the series. I played through the Zerg expansion. I haven't played anything from the Protoss. StarCraft is one of those games where if you leave it be for a while and you try to jump back in, you're very rusty at the game and you have no idea what you're doing.
Well, I mean, competitively, StarCraft has always been one of the most difficult competitive video games there is. There's RTSs in general, to be honest. The whole concept of micromanaging is exemplified in especially StarCraft RTSs.
Right. Yeah, and I like RTSs to a point, but yeah, it's definitely one where if you don't dedicate all your time to, shooters and stuff like that, you're not going to be as well as you could be, and even in the campaign mode, that really punishes you. But in StarCraft 2, I'm excited to see what they're going to be doing. They're giving everybody Wings of Liberty for free, so you can do that entire campaign, which was a good, 10 hours of gameplay, if you do it right. Plus, some sort of competitive stuff, and then there's a bunch of microtransactions, alternate skins for units, and voice packs and stuff like that you can buy throughout the game.
Oh, they added voice packs. I didn't realize they did that.
Yeah, the Total Biscuit's actually a voice announcer.
Isn't that lovely?
Isn't that great? Good old TB. But yeah, that's pretty much all we have for StarCraft news right now.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's fine. I don't personally pay attention to BlizzCon or Blizzard in general for StarCraft. As soon as they release new story content, that's when I play StarCraft. I'm not a big multiplayer fan. It's just a very stressful experience for me, so I tend to not do that.
Nope, that's why I quit playing League of Legends, because it's fun, but it's very stressful.
Well, for different reasons. I did not mind the StarCraft community whatsoever, but the League of Legends community was horrifying. I will never go back.
Nope. And I bit a whole channel off of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are times that I miss it, but then I get in Overwatch and...
You remember why.
Yeah.
Speaking of Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm. We got announcement of 2 new characters. First one being Alexstrasza from World of Warcraft. She is the Red Dragonflight leader. She is a sexy elf by day, green lighting as a sexy dragon by night. And we have Hanzo, the sexy man-dragon.
Yeah, dragon-themed champions. I like it a lot. I hope Hanzo is a little bit more
Dynamic.
Universally playable in Heroes of the Storm than he is in Overwatch, because I'm a mid-gold ELO Overwatch player, and the Hanzos I get aren't particularly quality players, so I cringe every time I see one, I'm going to be honest.
It's not it's the same in Platinum. People just play Hanzo to play Hanzo, not to accomplish any of their goals and dreams in life.
Yeah, I don't know. I always hate when I get a player that latches onto their favorite character just because it's their favorite character, not because it's the situational character that we need at this time. And that's a whole different rant. Anyway, what do you think of their presumed playstyles?
So they released their playstyles. Alexstrasza is going to be kind of a damage dealing with support healing aspects to her, which is going to be cool. She's going to be very aggressive in lane. She's going to do a lot of stuff that is going to help the player, help your ally team while you're dealing damage. A lot of aggressive attacks and stuff like that. I haven't seen the actual breakdown of her kit yet, but it's from what I've seen from the videos and stuff like that. It's like, all right, she can do a lot of damage, but she can also just come out swinging and heal as well.
Yeah, it does look pretty good. She looks versatile. I don't think many people are going to be balking at her when they pick her. Hanzo, on the other hand, he looks like a lot like Tracer, to be honest. His movement, while being able to deal out damage, seems to be very high. Tracer is my favorite character in Heroes of the Storm, just because you're always moving, you're always running around. It's just so much fun to play. I'm thinking Hanzo might actually be quite a fun character.
Yeah, his ultimate in Overwatch is in this game, and it seems to be just, I'm going to clear this lane out now. You can stay in the lane, or you can move out of the way. It's up to you.
Yeah,
so I'm excited for that.
It looks like a slightly narrower, faster-moving version of the battleship that... Oh God, why can't I think of his name? What's his name?
Raynor.
Yeah, it's a narrower, faster-moving version of Raynor's ultimate with the battleships.
Right. Just kind of, here I come. Burp, 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 burp. Oh, they actually have their skills on the website now. I just checked. They leaked early, which was kind of funny.
You kind of expect that. Blizzard does a pretty darn good job of being able to keep their secrets until BlizzCon actually releases. The only major thing that was leaked the day of, as soon as BlizzCon started, there was a trademark filed in New Zealand for one of the things we're going to be talking up next, but most of this stuff was a pretty well-guarded secret.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't expecting Alexstrasza or Hanzo. I wasn't expecting, a lot of the announcements they made, except for, a new expansion, but we didn't even get the name until 2 hours before, BlizzCon actually started. But, yeah. Just checked. Alexstrasza is main support.
Great.
So that makes me happy. I play support. Shocker. So, moving on along to Overwatch, since I transitioned so poorly from that, we first off got a new map, and this map is probably a Blizzard fanboy's dream. It is literally Blizzard World.
See, okay, I have to interrupt you there, because you said it was an Overwatch thing, but it wasn't immediately obvious to me that it was an Overwatch map.
No, neither was I.
I thought it was a Heroes of the Storm map at first. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's rooms you can go into, and it took me way too long for it to click that, holy crap, this is an Overwatch map.
Right, I was paying attention to who was speaking at the time, but I wasn't actually listening, so when they're like, guy on Overwatch stage, points at Overwatch, and then I see the Blizzard, I'm like, wow, that is a really cool, and I'm like, that's a map? That's a map?
This thing breaks the absolute fourth wall. Although it does show you that Heroes of the Storm is not the only crossover acknowledgement that the Blizzard universe is its own universe. Apparently Blizzard has existed in this timeline for Overwatch, which is it's awesome.
D.Va is sponsored by Blizzard on her butt. So.
Oh yeah, no, there's small Easter eggs like that, but nothing as overt and obvious as this.
Right. So it's pretty interesting. I can't wait to play around on this map, and just look at all the Easter eggs, because this is just flowing with just my favorite thing is the store that's a little stand for what is it? Snacks. It's called Snacksaramus.
I know.
It makes me happy. I'm just I want Snacksaramus.
Oh, I know. It just looks so much fun, and the layout overall is kind of like Stormwind, so that's familiar. I already know what this map is going to feel like. God knows I've spent enough time in that city.
They announced that some objects like the siege cannons from StarCraft or some kind of object related things that look like they can do things, they're not going to do anything yet, but they said there might be a brawl where they'll activate the siege tank and it can bombard people and stuff. I'm like, there's possibilities with this map, and I can't wait.
The only thing that I feel is slightly underrepresented is Diablo. They only showed like the Deckard Cain room.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what that is.
Room. It's like, I think that's the crypt from Diablo 3 in the first room where you find the Skeleton King. That's what I'm guessing. But yeah, you don't get a good glimpse of anything other than like a couple of pokes at Diablo, which is kind of fair because Diablo only got like an hour's worth between 2 days of, panels.
It does have the smallest market share of anything that Blizzard does right now.
But they're very dedicated. They're like, their average player base like is steady still, even though they haven't got any content since the Diablo anniversary patch like 3-4 months ago.
I believe it.
So, which it's fair. Diablo is one of those games where it's not as easily marketable, even though it is the most easy to pick up out of all the games. Strangely enough.
It was fun in the 90s. I just don't know why that didn't cross over for me.
I didn't like the Diablo 3 when it first came out. There's a whole video about why I didn't like Diablo when it first came out. And I played it again before Overwatch came out, and I made it to like level 60 on a monk. It was still fun, but like it just kind of like it's good in bursts. Diablo's good in bursts.
Well, and I kind of was really soured on Diablo 3 initially because they announced it with microtransactions, and I was really upset about that. And it just poisoned it for me.
Low loot, low, it was all gold. You were getting gray items. You weren't getting legendary. As soon as they redid the whole loot system and removed that, like they're like, we'll just give you whatever we want. There's no money involved. Have all of this stuff.
And don't get me wrong, microtransactions have their place in Overwatch and CS:GO. All these various games where they're mostly cosmetic. That's great. Keep them cosmetic. But when it's an integral part of the game that you need to get loot, I'm looking at you, Destiny. It's a problem.
All that stuff is cosmetic too, but the problem is like they don't make it easy for players to actually earn. And that's a whole topic for another thing. We're talking about the good things about Blizzard and talking about good things. We got a new Overwatch character, Moria, the Bionic Orbs. Oh, wait, no, that's the name of her skill. Her name is just Moria.
Moira looks actually like she's a lot of fun to play. She looks like a very high skill cap character. Another support, kind of like Zenyatta, that deals a lot of damage while healing. Her voice actress did not resonate with me personally. I kind of felt her nails on a chalkboardy kind of stuff.
She looks like, I love the art style to it, but she looks like she was just taken out of Battleborn, the Gearbox kind of like MOBA style game. She looks like that kind of art style, and she can probably fit into Overwatch after we get adjusted to her and seeing her in the battlefield and stuff like that. Right now I'm just like, okay, she doesn't immediately look like she fits the lineup like other characters like Sombra or Doomfist did. So
no, she looks like cybernetic Kano type with tubes all over her from Mortal Kombat. But the way her character plays, I think I'm going to really like playing her.
Right. So I have her skills up. Her first ability, Bionic Grasp, her left hand expands bionic energy to heal allies in front of her like a flamethrower. Her right hand fires a long-range beam weapon that saps energy and healing Moria and replenishing her bionic energy. So she's essentially sapping energy from enemies and then giving it to her allies in kind of like an AoE kind of like spray ability. Ooh. She also has like an orb that launches and rebounds the bionic sphere. She can choose between the regeneration effects or the damaging effects, and it bounces around hitting enemies, which is awesome. I love bouncing effects. And then she can teleport away for a short distance. Her ultimate is a line shot ability, which can heal and damage depending on ally and enemy, which again is super cool. And I love any ability to just let you just shoot damage at people.
Yeah, what I like about that is you have to deal damage in order to heal, and healing seems to be integral to being able to do damage as well. So you have to do both. It's not like Zenyatta where if you never press your shift key, you're never going to be healing. Like, you have to do it. If somebody picks her, you can at least reasonably expect that they're going to be doing some healing.
Yeah. She definitely looks fun. I'm more excited for some of her skins. They showed off some of the like cosmetic prototypes for her. And one of them looks like a really crazy JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like 80s Ziggy Stardust skin. And I'm like, I want that so bad.
Yeah, she does look a little Bowie-esque, doesn't she? She even has different colored eyes.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
What? That's
Not
Lionel Richie. What?
I don't know, I just picked the first 80s song I could think of. We also got announcement of a bunch of new skins that are going to be going into the basic loot boxes. And we're getting Echo Point May, which was themed after her skin from her animation. We are getting Butcher Roadhog. We are getting Barbarian Zyra. We are getting Black Hand Doomfist from World of Warcraft, which looks phenomenal. Of course, we're going to get a Widowmaker Nova skin, because in Heroes it's Nova Widowmaker, so they're doing the whole flip-flop. We're getting Magni Bronzebeard Torbjorn, which is probably the best skin, and then Immortal Orisa, which is also like a really nice looking skin.
And to segue into the next talking point, the Honor and Glory skin for Reinhardt. They didn't explicitly say they're going to add it to the game, but at the very end of the short that they showed you, they show Reinhardt in playing graphics, a full skin for his friend that, spoiler alert, perished in the video.
Well, that skin has been in-game for a while, but they touched it up and they gave it new, cleaner art for it. They also announced that Crusader Reinhardt, his younger self, is going to be a skin, which is awesome. Like, you got blonde, buff Reinhardt from the earlier days of his life, without his eye wound and all that stuff, as a skin as well. And that whole 7 minutes was so good to me.
Every single Overwatch short is just breathtaking. There are some that really pull on your heartstrings. Most of all for me was the Bastion one. Like, there's absolutely no dialogue in that short at all, but it really gets you. The May one, it gets you. This one has its moments too. Like, they're really well animated, and they have a great short story to tell.
Yeah, and it definitely ties into the what is it? The castle map with the Crusader in the chair, and it tells you the whole story of what happened there and why Reinhardt is so solemn when he goes to that map. And you kind of, like, every time you see that character now, you're just like, he died protecting Reinhardt because Reinhardt made a mistake, and Reinhardt never will live that down. So that's really kind of like a touching, like, ooh, they give more information in that one short than most people give in Destiny.
And there was one thing I picked up in the short. He was scolded, Reinhardt, for going out ahead and being offensive rather than protecting his team. I was like, yes, thank you. I hate Reinhardts that just run around swinging their hammer. They need to protect the team.
Except for when I do it, because I'm good at it, Matt.
Still.
No, I'm good at it, and you've never punished me for scooting away and killing 3 people, ever. Ever.
That's because usually I'm pocket healing you.
Yeah, that's true. Give me your balls and I'll zoom away, and that sounded awful.
No, let's not.
So, moving along to the big news. There were 2 major announcements for World of Warcraft. The first one is... Matt?
I don't want to talk about it.
It's Classic WoW, Matt. It's Classic WoW.
Oh, you're talking about the good announcement of the 2. Yeah. No, Classic WoW's good. I think this is what Blizzard needed to do after they shut down the private server at all. The many servers that they have just absolutely railroaded because they don't want their IP to be damaged or whatever. But this needed to happen.
Yes, it definitely needed to happen. There's a lot of stuff I want to hear later on about, like, what's going to be connected, what's not going to remain the same. Is it going to be 100% like, vanilla, and then over time we'll get the expansions, or is it going to be kind of like Milestone, where it's the very end of Warcraft Classic, where it's all of the events have already happened, all the stuff is unlocked, or over time are they just going to cycle world events and kind of let you relive those moments?
I don't know. All I care about is I want to live the AQ event.
Yes.
Like,
I want to relive that. I want to relive the Gurabashi event too, where they kept attacking the city with emissaries, and everybody ran up and would punch the emissary to learn free-handed weapon skill, and just pop, 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 pop.
And the Naxxramas event, and I mean, there's just the original vanilla events were so monumental feeling. And I was new to the game in vanilla, and I was a noob. I mean, I was barely in middle school, so these things were very new to me, and MMOs in general I didn't have a grasp of, so I didn't really participate in vanilla WoW.
We played a little bit of EverQuest, but even that was really daunting. We kind of just played around and explored. We didn't really do quests, or because we were young, we didn't understand any of that stuff. So,
no, but this actually has me really excited. I hope that they are true to the original. I wouldn't mind the graphical advancements still being implemented in World of Warcraft Classic. I just want the gameplay to be the same.
Right. Looks great, feels the same.
Yeah.
We don't need shitty graphics for the same experience, because it's already all... Well, the character models might be able to be upgraded, but I don't think the actual map can be as pretty.
Yeah, and one thing about this announcement is they started it off with a video which showed the cinematics. Chromie's like, I got a chronomatonic whatever, and then you start going backwards in time with the cinematics. And this is one thing that Blizzard is really great. They release things in such a way that really gets you excited. Yeah, because, after being to BlizzCon, you realize, and being in that room and seeing what they did with Overwatch's first announcement, I can only imagine how great it would have been to be in that audience, watching everything go backwards, and it clicks. Oh, this is what they're announcing. This is really, really cool.
Well, what was funny was he's like, before I get a big announcement, I want to talk to you about ice cream. And I'm like, I'm sitting there at Target because I'm live streaming as I'm at lunch, and I'm kind of running an errand, and I'm like, why are you talking about ice cream? Idiot, come on, don't stall. And he's just like, chocolate's great. And you could hear the audience going, ha, 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 come on, you're building something up here. We want and he's just like, but of all things, everybody agrees they love
vanilla. Oh, yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see what news they have on that. They also said that they might have to buy back the old vanilla servers. Just like, oh, they just donated those to charity, and now they might need them back for tech.
Well, whatever. It's
Blizzard. They have that shit archived, probably.
Activision, they tend to mess up a lot. Blizzard is one of the few blemishless IPs that Activision has, and
They still do their naughty, but
I don't know. It's small things. As a whole, the company generally does the right thing, and this was honestly expected.
Yeah. And then finally, the big news. Hearthstone has a Dungeons & Dragons set. No one cares about it. Moving on. All right. Sorry, we forgot about it. I'm like, we should just mention it. The big news is the next World of Warcraft expansion that takes place after the events of Legion, and that is Battle for Azeroth, or as I'm calling it, Wabua. And while Battle for Azeroth is a expansion where they are escalating the conflict between the Horde and the Alliance to the point where major story points occur where the Alliance is only on the Eastern Kingdoms and the Horde is only on Kalimdor. I'm not going to go into too much details for those that want to stay story-driven heavy and not learn about that fact. But Anduin and Sylvanas are at the point where a full-scale war occurs and we are sighted literally split down the middle in the world. For that reason, we have to go find allies with large naval resources and bases, and we come across Jaina Proudmoore in her old town of
Minas Tirith,
and the Horde go for the Zendalari, which has always been an enemy faction of both the Horde and the Alliance. So it's going to be interesting to see how they recruit the Zendalari and all of this stuff. Now, some of the stuff that is interesting and kind of iffy about this expansion is the fact that they are bringing out 3 alternate races for existing races. For the Alliance, we're getting the Dark Iron Dwarves, the Void-called Elves, and the Light-sworn Draenei, all races that we've seen in the past years and have had some story-driven stuff. For the Horde, they're getting the... what is the Tauren from Legion?
The High Mountain Tauren, the Zandalari Trolls, and
the Nightborn, right?
Oh, yep,
yes,
the Nightborn. Yeah, so they get another elf race now.
So that's a cool idea. This is something that a lot of people are like, we have these character models that are really nice. Why don't we spruce them up and let players play these alternate versions of races? Great. I love the Dark Iron. I think the Dark Iron should have been an option in Cataclysm when they were actually relevant to the story. The problem is that a lot of the story and a lot of the content is going to be locked to players of the opposite faction.
Until you reach max level.
Until you reach max level. So the Alliance are going to be strictly on the Alliance side of the map, and the Horde is going to be in the Zandalari side of the map until 120, and then there's going to be small quest area effects that you can be doing after that point. And I feel that that is going to be one thing that's going to draw me away from this expansion, is the fact that the line has been drawn. I'm not going to see Horde players until 120. That's just going to be a thing.
That doesn't bother me. The thing that bothers me the most is the story element. I know it's called World of Warcraft, and this whole expansion is about war between two factions, but the whole faction war has been the least interesting thing about the game for me. But I'm kind of biased because I never really PvP. I'm a PvE strictly only kind of person. So this expansion is trying to ramp up excitement for World PvP again? I mean, what's their demographic here?
Okay, I must ask you something. What'd you think of the way Mr. Pandaria ended?
I think it ended with one heck of a cliffhanger leading up into a mediocre expansion.
Right. But did you like the idea of sieging Orgrimmar and taking out Garrosh? Now that was both a Horde and Alliance cooperative event thing where everybody was kind of affected by this tyrant and going in and stopping Garrosh.
Yes, I did enjoy that, but I also enjoyed the subplot of the heart of a Titan being used to corrupt Garrosh in the first place.
Right. And that's what I was wondering. Like, so it wasn't about the aspect of the Horde or Alliance, like fighting in their city. It was more like you were working together to stop an enemy and an old god. So that definitely changes my kind of like argument of that aspect. So I'm going to drop that. I'm going to put it in the bucket of, all right, that's no longer valid for me.
Well, I don't know. There are some elements that are interesting about this expansion. Ishara has been confirmed to be a raid boss at some point, either in the first or second tier. I've seen both. No talk of Enzoth, which is kind of disappointing for me.
If she's involved, Enzoth is going to be involved, especially if we're going to be... He is a god that lives underwater, and if we're going to be in a very water-heavy area, he's going to show his face.
Well, maybe they don't want to let the cat out of the bag about that too soon. They want to let that story build, but I think they're doing the announcement a disservice by keeping that under wraps, if it's the case.
Well, a lot of the story points that revolve around Battle for Azeroth haven't happened yet. They keep mentioning a very, very plot point heavy item called Azerite, which is the blood of Azeroth. They don't explain where it's coming from, why it's such a big deal, why Selethis is a big major contention between Horde and Alliance. But that is essentially what's going to happen in the next month or so in Legion, and why that's going to be a big deal. Now, that's probably what's going to spark the war. Maybe there's going to be some things between the end of the World Warcraft Legion expansion into Battle for Azeroth, but we'll have to see. So that's the point. It's like, because they start off with a gorgeous cinematic, and even if you don't like the expansion, that 3-4 minute just is beautiful and gorgeous and gets you really pumped up for this epic battle that they're going to have to start off the expansion. But it's just like you start off with the Alliance attacking the Undercity, which is something the Alliance would never do. The Alliance is always on the defensive when it comes to these attacks. So
yeah, and they're trying to reclaim Lordaeron, which, I mean, it's a reasonable trade, Teldrassil for Lordaeron.
Oh, yes, the fact that they burned down the World Tree. That was...
Well, they didn't burn it down. I mean, it's like... It's a mile tall, and they were just bombarding the top of it. I didn't see it actually collapse or fall over, did you?
No, but, they say that Teldrassil has burned down, and that's, like, in the notes that I'm reading, so you never know. We don't have any info. They really much just glanced over. It's like, Sylvanas burned down the Night Elf starting area, and now the Alliance wants revenge,
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been so lackluster about a Warcraft announcement since Cataclysm, and that's saying something.
Well, I think we're going to need more information. Definitely, we're kind of... There's a lot of things veiled behind story points that they don't want to give away. You're going to pick it up, right? You're going to give it a shot.
no matter how many times I say, nope, I'm not going to do it, I always end up doing it. But there are things that are bright spots. Like I said, the first raid is going to be a Titan Vault. I love the
Yes, those are
Titans.
always great.
Ulduar is my all-time favorite raid. If this is anything reminiscent of that, I'm going to love it.
The system of they're taking the artifact system from Legion and they're condensing it into a single necklace. They said that all artifact weapons are going to go out in a blaze of glory, and I'm kind of scared and excited at the same time to know how that's going to happen. But they're condensing all of that from from weapons to a single artifact on your necklace that will unlock armor sets and armor bonuses with this Azurite infused armor, which is going to be the new mechanic where your armor is going to be able to function like legendaries without having to wait for legendaries to drop. So that's going to be a really cool, hopefully fun mechanic to engage with, where it's not just one item you're pumping up, but you have these choices of what you can do with your weapons and armor, and you can have like different playstyles based on that.
That's great. I mean, there was a long gap between them taking away real tech trees and the artifact weapons, and I think the artifact weapons bring back a feel of a tech tree. Even though there's really not that much of a choice in the end game content, you have everything on your tech tree for your weapon, and the choices don't really matter. But it still feels good, like you're accomplishing things incrementally.
And they did a good job making sure that even after you capped it out, there were things you could unlock with the way you can mess with the artifacts that you equipped into your weapons now with that tech tree. And each one of those gives you different benefits and stuff like that now. They kind of, they're like, all right, so the players are capped. Let's give them a different way to feel like they're making customization choices.
Yeah,
So,
another like Crucible, less so than the rest of the tech tree advancements because oh my gosh, does it take a long time to get a new
yeah.
a new unlock on one of your artifacts.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But another thing I'm excited for is the fact that there's going to be these things called island expansions, and they're going to be 3-man groups, like the old scenarios of Mist of Pandaria, which were my favorite part about Mist, outside of the raids. And they will put you on an island, and the island's objective is going to change. So one time it's going to be a group of kobolds, one time it's going to be Mushigan warriors on the island. There's going to be just a bunch of crabs everywhere. And your goal is to get onto the island, grab as much Azurite as you can, and then leave. And while that happens, the Horde shows up, or the Alliance shows up, and they're going to have specialty NPCs that are going to act different than anything else in the game, that are going to react to your gameplay and sabotage you, or cut you off of the path, or out-strategize you, and try to do a lot of stuff that you're not going to expect. Because usually when you attack a mob, you pull the mob, you kite it away. These mobs are not going to let you do that. They're going to be more dynamic, and I can't wait to see what that kind of stuff entails. Now we're going to learn those patterns too, but it's going to be exciting to jump onto an island, attack something, and it's going to run away instead of come after you, and you're like, that was not what I expected.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I may change my mind about it, but generally I get pretty hyped for expansions. This one, I don't know. At first glance, it just didn't do anything for me. It might end up being a great expansion, but on the surface,
We felt the same for Mists. We definitely hopped into it with low expectations until we did the Jade, or what is it, the Jade Jungle or whatever.
yeah, the Jade Forest. But that my lackluster feeling towards Mist of Pandaria wasn't really about Mists of Pandaria. It was about my disenfranchise with the entire game of World of Warcraft because I disliked Cataclysm so much.
Right. Right.
It was
But
just so boring.
we've lived through Cataclysm, Mists. We got really hyped up for Warlords of Draenor, and that was the most disappointing expansion I've ever experienced in my life. But then we were able to we gained trust when we came back for Legion, and I think the team definitely has these great ideas. I think the catalyst for these ideas is a little weak, but I know that they might change how things go.
You never know. Blizzard usually ends up making a home run out of anything, and well, I just talked crap about Cataclysm, so that's not true. Please don't be another Cataclysm, please.
That was the heyday of them being purchased by Activision, and they were kind of relearning what they were doing, because that was around the same time as Diablo 3's issues and StarCraft 2's issues and all that stuff. So that was a dark period for Blizzard. We don't talk
Yeah,
about the dark period.
just let the Blizzard devs be the Blizzard devs.
And I think they're going to do a good job. The Zandalari look so good. The Alliance cities look so good. The art is just amazing. Jaina looks fantastic. She's going to be an amazing Dreadlord when she grows up.
Yeah, her and her brethren from Nazarim are gonna, they're gonna make everything better.
Yeah. No, I love the fact that they acknowledge that. They're like, this is Jaina's mother. No, she's not a Dreadlord. Stop.
All right. So overall, for you, who won BlizzCon day one?
It's a hard choice. I don't have the jadedness towards the whole Horde and Alliance thing, so I think the Battle for Azeroth announcement was what really got me my blood a pumping. I had to actually stop, go away from my office for a bit after the seeing the cinematic and just kind of calm down for a bit, because just seeing the Horde and Alliance at that scale battling was just oh to me. But at the same time, I also have a fondness for Andrin Rin, because I remember him as the little kid that you could click on and he sounded awful, and then he grew up and then you really learned about him in Mist, and he keeps building upon the character as being the only character that ages in World of Warcraft. It makes me good to know that he's the king.
Yeah, Anduin's okay. Anyway, for me, I got to give it to Overwatch. They just had an absolute embarrassment of riches as far as good things to show you.
Yeah, and the competitive Overwatch, I think, is heating up today, so I can't wait to watch some of those matches.
Yeah, competitive Overwatch. They've been touting a new way to actually observe the games, so I'm looking forward to that. I prefer to watch my games from a top-down view. Right. I mean, even if there are RTSs, I don't know how in the world you would do that. But one of these days, somebody's going to make an absolutely revolutionary spectator mode for live professional gaming, and you're going to be able to get in the game, watch it, be able to move around, and drive the experience yourself.
Dota and Counter-Strike let you do that. You can be your own commentator and announcer. They have the tech for that, and it's really awesome. Too bad that Blizzard hasn't stolen that yet.
Forget commentating. I just want to be able to either, follow a certain person, hover over a specific objective on the map. I don't know. Just create your own experience.
I do like the fact that the teams competing in the Overwatch League have home team and away team skins, and if they're on the away team, their colors are muted, and the home team is going to be brighter, so you can tell the difference between the two teams' actions, and everything's going to be more team-focused colors, so you know who's doing what, and I think that's awesome, and I think more games need to find a way to address who's doing what on the field, especially if it's long-range abilities or gunfire or, laser beams from the new character. Finding out how they, who's doing what is a very, very, very difficult thing in some competitive games, and Overwatch is taking a step towards fixing that, and I think that's awesome.
I think Overwatch is taking a lot of steps towards revolutionizing the competitive gaming industry. What do you think of the Overwatch League?
I'm excited. I definitely want to go and check out the Blizzard Arena and watch some games down there, because seeing images from the Blizzard Arena, it's just that is awesome. A whole building dedicated to Blizzard esports, and I want to be there right now.
I feel ya. The main thing that is new with gaming in the professional arena, your team or a team is going to be attached to a city.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually really like that, because for me, it's really difficult to find a team to latch onto and follow. For whatever reason, Darius got me into TSM, and so I follow TSM. But then when Worlds come along, it's I don't really care who my team is. I care about my country and a handful of other countries, fighting the good fight against the Goliath of South Korean teams. But I would love it if there was a Denver team.
Yeah, because here are the teams right now. We have the Boston Uprising, the Dallas Fuel, the Houston Outlaws, the London Spitfire, the Los Angeles Valiant, the Los Angeles Gladiators, Florida Mayhem, New York Excelsior, Philadelphia Fusion, San Francisco Shock, the Seoul Destiny, and the Shanghai Dragons. And out of the names alone, I really want to do the Outlaws or the Shanghai Dragons. Just for teams to root for.
Yeah, well, I haven't actually seen that list. Hearing that there's no, mid-country teams, I guess I'll root for Houston. I don't know.
Yeah, Houston. I'm not going to vote for Dallas or Boston. Maybe Florida, because it's interesting that there's a Florida team.
Well, Florida's one of the most densely populated states in the country.
Yeah, but they really don't have any, when you hear teams in competitive, gaming, Florida isn't a state you hear very often. It's usually California or Texas or even Denver, because we have some groups that are really prevalent here from fighting games and stuff like that. So,
Well, I think their strategy is to target media markets much like sports teams do.
well, there is a $20 million buy-in for teams, so.
Yeah, that seems a little absurd to me, but I never really had any illusions of being a competitive gamer on any level, so whatever, I don't care. A lot of people seem to have a problem with that, but this gaming is getting recognition. This is what was going to happen. This is what needed to happen for American football. It needed to happen for basketball, baseball. All of this has happened before.
Yep.
And to show that it's happening in the gaming industry means that it's coming to the forefront. I mean, the Olympic IOC, they they have set ground rules for what needs to qualify to be an Olympic gaming sport.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is a lot of these teams for this Overwatch League are owned by owners of MLB, not MLG, but they're not owned by the gaming titans. They're owned by football, baseball, basketball owners that see that there's something going on. And if this goes well with a $3.5 million prize pool for teams, that more teams are going to buy in, more people will go in the league. There might be an East Coast, West Coast division. There's all sorts of stuff that can happen.
I'm excited for it. I mean, gaming's arrived. It is here now. The naysayers could say, oh, it's not a sport. I don't care. Put it in its own category, but it's here and it's not going away.
Nope. And I'm totally okay with that.
Me too. It's, I do love my conventional athletic sports as well, but to supplement it when I'm bored with that with my favorite Overwatch team, hell yeah.
Right. So, from the news on the floor, has there been anything that stuck out to you that's just like, that is super cool? Like in the past, there was like the motorcycles at BlizzCon when we were there, or there was like a huge statue that they had for people to look at, or some like side event. Is there anything that has stuck out from like kind of the C or D stages that really have been like, that's really cool, I can't believe they did that?
Nothing that I haven't seen before in at least another venue. When we went to BlizzCon, we just kind of roamed around. We sampled, we cherry picked all kinds of different stuff because there is just so much to do there.
Yep. For me, the thing that makes me really wish I got a chance to go to BlizzCon this year is the Horde versus Alliance diorama in the center of Hall B, with over 10,000 figurines in the center, each one based off an attendee of BlizzCon.
That is, yeah, I hadn't heard about that. That sounds really, really cool.
Yeah, it's insane. And I'm like, my character could have been... And everybody's like, well, you probably can't find your character. No, they have an online list that helps you figure out where your character is.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
I'm just like, damn it. I would love to be able to say, like, my character is over there. It's like, Campter is right over there. Boop.
No screenings of any movies this year.
Yeah, that was definitely... Well, after how bad the movie turned out...
I don't know. I still like the movie for what it was. I'm not.
It was a gorgeous movie. I think the plot was definitely jumbled.
Whatever. It was a nostalgia factory for me. It wasn't anything more than that. It was worth my time. I definitely got my, ticket value out of it. And at BlizzCon, when we actually got teased with a handful of scenes and clips, that was actually a really great experience. It was fun to be in a room with a bunch of nerds geeking out over our favorite game.
Like this year with their whole diorama, then they recorded the audio from the crowd yelling Horde and Alliance, and they sliced it into the movie, and I thought that was a great touch. So
see, I have played Horde, I've played Alliance. I'm right now mostly Alliance. That's where I spend most of my time. I've never felt the whole Horde versus Alliance thing because honestly, the Horde is just on face value so much cooler. They're cool. It's fun to be Horde and push the whole Horde versus Alliance agenda. Maybe that's why I'm on Alliance, because I value peace and cooperation.
Yeah. And I just wanted to be a paladin in vanilla, and that's how it kind of came to be.
Yeah. Well, everybody, there you have it. Those are our insights to day one of BlizzCon 2017.
Usually we wrap up with a question for our guests, but we're running a little long on this one, and there's so much information from BlizzCon that we're still recovering from. So please, in the comment section down below, let us know what your favorite announcement and least favorite announcement from BlizzCon is. If there's anything you want us to know, share, correct us about, because we're doing this really early in the morning, and we're still waiting on more information to come out from BlizzCon from day 2. So please leave it down below. If you like the show, please support us by subscribing, liking, commenting. If you really, really like us, we have a Patreon with new rewards. Super easy to do. Check it out at patreon.com/spasticgaming. And check out our Facebook at facebook.com/spasticgaming. Anyways, this has been Water Elemental.
And this has been Jolly Green.